What does it take to be a successful entrepreneur? A dangerous amount of coffee and a ton of grit. My name is Jason Tracy, and every week I interview business leaders to share their stories, life lessons, failures, and advice with you. Welcome to Coffee and Grit. What is up to all the difference makers out there? I've had so much fun in between our bathroom breaks here, just chatting with our guest today. So I'm super excited to get into it. And hey, with the book, I Refuse to Work for an Asshole being the title, I know there's a ton of great stories unraveled in here. We've talked about there's some great stories in it. So you know me, and I'm a sucker for some amazing stories. So I'm excited. Let's just get into it. Welcome Kelly Hamlin, author of I Refuse to Work for an Asshole, to Coffee and Grit.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, good afternoon. Whatever we're in. I think I'm past coffee.
Yeah, I know, me too. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad it worked out and you could make it here with the traffic.
Me too.
So I'm, again, talking about the stories in I Refuse to Work for an Asshole, I know there's got to be a lot into that. And so What was the accumulation? How did that come out?
Several years ago, I started journaling stories of things that happened in my corporate career and situations that I found myself in, whether positive or negative, a lot of negative stuff. And I just thought someday I would write a book and hopefully help others who are going through similar situations. And I may not have all the answers, but at least, they'll feel like they're not alone. And I've changed jobs a lot in my 20-plus corporate career. I'm really good at it. So, hence, me launching my IT staffing firm. I can help a lot of people change jobs because it's not that easy for some, and some people feel lost and they don't know what direction to go in. And I'm here to help. I'm taking my corporate IT career and turning it into something to help others get out of, shitty situations, working for people people yell in the office and scream, and some people find themselves in abusive situations they don't know how to get out of.
And that's hits so hard in going through that and seeing that.
Yeah.
People don't know how to get out of that. And you think of any abusive relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and sometimes we don't label that as like a work or an employer, but that is an abusive relationship.
Absolutely. We spend most of our time there.
Yeah.
And people, I've helped a lot of people understand that it may not be the job that they're doing may not be their passion. And what's interesting is when you help them find their passion and when they start to pursue that, everything they've ever wanted starts coming towards them because they were able to let go of this toxic energy that they were surrounded by that makes you feel held back. You feel stuck. You feel like you don't know where to turn. And as soon as you can start, breaking away from some of that, I've watched a lot of people really evolve. It's been incredible.
Saying that, and I think it's a perfect segue. You were talking about right before getting here, in the parking lot, you'd gotten a message from somebody you worked with, and how it made you emotional. And so I think it's a good time to what happened here.
It did, and it will probably choke me up again.
Yeah.
I was a career coach for Right Management Consultants based out of Southfield here. Fourth quarter last year, they needed some folks to help with transition. We had mass layoffs in IT, mortgage, and automotive. So I took on about 40 individuals who were going to be transitioning to a new job. And Kevin, young, early 30s, native to the city of Detroit, was riffed from the mortgage industry, along with thousands of others at the same time. And what he quickly found was overnight, boom, his salary just cut in half. Mm. And so our first hurdle was, it's not you that isn't worth that money. It's the job anymore that's not worth that kind of money. So here's, that's when a lot of people are going through this right now. What do I do?
Yeah.
And do I take a job making half? Well, if you absolutely love what you do, then you make your life, you make life changes and make it work. But if you don't, it's the perfect time to change careers. And, but he really thought he wanted to stay in that industry for a while. And so interview after interview, and every job posting, there's hundreds of candidates overnight. And if you don't know anybody, you just get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
And he just did all the right stuff and never gave up. And he felt down, and I'd prop him back up. And And but he just kept pursuing and pushing forward, not giving up, and I refused to give up on him. And he took a job he went from making $75,000 a year down to the only job he could find was making $18 an hour, which is like 36 grand a year.
Wow.
But he took it.
Yeah.
And then found himself in a very abusive, I mean, just his manager was like, it was not good, just constantly telling him what he was doing wrong. And he's like, Kelly, I can't do it. I said, well, then leave if that's what you want to do. And, we decided to take him from mortgage to, I said, why don't we, let's talk about changing careers.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I have one of my customers, IT company, great company. I mean, the people are incredible. And I said, they have some entry-level positions. It's not where you used to be, but it's in the middle of where you were and where you are now. And they're great people. I know you'll be in a good spot. And he interviewed for them, and earlier today was the final interview, and he called me, and I haven't heard him that happy in 6 months. I said, it went well, and he goes, oh, Kelly, I hope I get this. This would be incredible. This woman, he goes, I could work for this woman. She was so nice. He goes, I didn't sweat. I didn't get nervous. The whole interview was a conversation. I said, that's awesome. And when I pulled in the driveway here, the customer texted me that he's getting the job.
That is amazing.
And that kid, here's something else that happened. He got riffed from the mortgage company, and they paid him for 3 months. He's been working in Detroit since he was 15 years old, mind you. They paid him for 3 months. Well, it took 4 months to find a job. He went to go collect unemployment, and they denied him because the company that riffed him said he retired. I said, this guy's making 75 grand a year. He's 32 years old. Do you really think he just fucking retired? So he couldn't collect any unemployment. He had no money coming in, which is why he took this last job, because he had to have something. And he picked up a second job on the weekends cooking at a restaurant up the road just to, I mean, this kid is a survivor, and I am going to call him when I leave here, and he's.
That is amazing.
It's incredible.
It's incredible. Kevin, man, congratulations.
Yeah, he's going to be so happy.
And what's so awesome about that is how hard Kevin's going to work for that company.
Oh my gosh, he is. And I know the guy, my main contact, who's the vice president over there. Him and I started. This could segue into how important your network is. Him and I started our careers together over 20 years ago at the same company. The same company took a chance on him and I, who had no experience, and we've stayed in contact over 20 years. And this is the guy running the service desk that my guy's going to be working at, and he's just a nice. I know Kevin. Well, I mean, he's going to be so well taken care of.
And it goes like, I love how you said, like, you both got hired, not having the experience, and somebody took a chance on you.
And that's what, and when Kevin initially interviewed with HR, they said no, because he doesn't have any technical skills. And I told Bob his story. I said, Bob, he's an incredible customer service. Technical skills can be taught. And my customer, Bob, was like, absolutely, we're bringing him in again. And it's because of our relationship, or he would have never had that chance.
Absolutely.
And so that's, a shout out to everybody out there, the importance of your network. It can work wonders, and when you least expect it.
Well, it's so amazing. You started off talking about being able to give people, telling people, like, this is what you do, this is what you give. But to hear that story, like, so passionately, Kevin didn't know those people.
Mm-mm.
He met you, and you were able to believe in him, invest in him, help him. But most importantly, your connections helped him get the light shown on him, so that he can then take that.
Absolutely.
It's just so amazing.
Oh, it's incredible. I wouldn't be doing anything else. I really wouldn't. It's when I can take somebody and put them in an environment. I just placed a woman a few weeks ago who, her last environment, her manager would scream at her, like literally screaming.
Yeah.
And now she's in an environment working for somebody that I've known for 20 years, and she's respected. She has a voice. She came from an environment where she wasn't respected. She didn't have a voice, but when, the shit hit the fan, guess whose fucking problem it was?
Oh, yeah.
She took the grunt every time. So now I know she's in an environment where she's, they respect women in IT, and she's loving it. And that's, if I can, that's what I'm here for. because I've been in real shitty environments, and sometimes I've, left appropriately, and sometimes I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, you just sometimes that's what you do. I remember I was a restaurant manager before I got into IT, and I showed up one night, and it's fajita night.
Yeah.
And we've got one cook, which we should usually have 3, no dishwasher. We were down wait staff. I don't think I had a hostess, 1 bartender. So fajita night brought in, a lot of margaritas too. And I called the general manager. I said, we can't open. We're not going to be able to serve these people. We cannot. It was in a shopping mall, so it was going to be packed. She's like, I'm not calling corporate and telling them that we're not opening. I said, you have to. It's the right thing to do. We're going to give shitty service. And that's not what we're here for. We won't get repeat business if that's what we do.
Yeah.
We need to shut the doors. It's the right thing to do. Well, she refused to. So I left my keys on the desk in the office and went out the back door. I was like, fuck this. I ain't going down with this ship.
Yep.
So I probably, would have handled that differently now. But
I have this crazy story that I just thought of the other day, and I'm like, I've never shared this story publicly.
I can't wait.
I don't even know if I've told my wife this story. This is like, it's just like one of these things like, I don't know if I'd do it now, but I had this job, and this guy kept stringing me along that he was going to pay me. And like, I was running this retail. I was the only one going to this retail store. It was literally the same time that 9/11 had happened. It was that same like week of time. And I had a girlfriend that lived she lived in the UP, and I was in Southfield. This is where the job was at. And like the guy kept promising me he was going to come and pay me, It's now been a week past the time, and he kept on, today's the day. Well, I had made plans to go see my girlfriend up in the UP, but I didn't have any money because this guy had all my money. And so like, he literally, I was like, had plans, I'm going to leave. He told me he's going to come pay me on Friday all day. He kept putting me off. And then Friday afternoon hits, he kept sending me to voicemail. And then he shot me a text and said, sorry, it's going to have to be next week sometime. So I literally, like, the only thing he had on me was in the office and where I was at. He had a picture of my ID and a picture of my social security card. So I grabbed that and I went to the cash register. I took all the money out of the cash register and I left. I'm like, this fucking guy is never gonna pay me.
Did he ever pay you?
No, he didn't even know who I was. I didn't, I took my stuff. I like never asked for the money back. I just like, I closed everything up. I took all the, and I like, after taxes, I probably made about the money that because there was a lot of cash.
Hey.
People were coming in and paying, so like I probably, I was about even. So I was like,
you had to get north.
I had never heard from that guy again. Like, it never came back on me. This is now, what is it, 2001, so 22 years ago.
Wow.
Just the craziest shit. And like, I probably would never do that. I would never do that in the world now.
Dude, he would find you.
He would find me.
Sorry to cut in here, but yeah.
He would, absolutely.
Now he would find me.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Now.
he would have sent some people over there by now, man.
This was pre-MySpace even, like there was no MySpace back then. So
you can find anybody now.
You can find anybody now. Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah.
That's why I get a little nervous sometimes when I get out there and post videos and stuff about some of the shit I say, because I don't want lock all the doors. Mom's going on stage.
If that guy finds me, he knows damn well he was a crook. He knew he was a crook. That's why I didn't feel bad about it. I was like, and it was one of those, I talk about eating faces. Listen, I'm going to survive. Like, I really wanted to see this girl.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
That's a good story.
Yeah. Good story. Tangent, but sometimes people are assholes. That guy, he kept putting me up. It might have even been more than a week. It was probably a couple of weeks actually, but
yeah. Well, you shouldn't mess with someone's money.
Yeah,
it's your livelihood.
Oh, exactly.
And it's bad karma.
Yeah, and I was working there. Anyways, I'm not going to keep going to the tangent, but
I deserve to steal that money.
I'm justifying now, right? I was such a victim.
You don't have to anymore.
I don't.
Statute of limitations on that too. I think good.
Yeah, no, but yeah, it's it's the people, and then you get plugged into a good culture, and it. I really feel like when a lot of times you have people, it's easy to justify sometimes for people when they're in a culture and they're getting abused and stuff like that versus being in somewhere where someone's going to take care of them.
Absolutely. I think it's important for people to understand this is your career. I mean, you're going to look back and say, what the fuck just happened the last 20 years? Like, that's what I'm doing recently.
Yeah.
Or actually 30. But, you know, you may have some regrets, but hopefully you don't. Hopefully you're nice to people, you're kind to people, you build a good network and surround yourself with great people. But there's a lot of people out there that are complete fucking assholes, and nobody's going to stand behind them.
Yeah.
You know, when the shit hits the fan, they're going to be stand there all by themselves, and they don't realize that. And I think, you know, people specifically in IT can work 60 hours a week, easy, travel all the time, and never see their families. They're stressed out. You know, it's too much. It's life. I mean, you know, I don't work 60 hours a week because I don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I want to enjoy my life and make memories with my daughter and garden and, you know, walk the dogs. And so many people won't take that time.
When you talked about going through that process, helping people find a new career, and do you relate that a lot of times? Like, what do you want life to look like?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's part of finding their passion. You know, what are some of the things, and oftentimes it's even if they're not real happy in their job, if you can find a passion that becomes a hobby outside of their job, it makes their job a lot easier to, you know, a lot easier for the palate, because they have this other distraction that they love. Whatever it looks like, however it looks.
Yep.
Just like I've built a business off of helping people change jobs because I've done it so many times.
Yeah. Yes.
But it doesn't, you know, who cares? I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks.
Yep.
Yeah, I've changed jobs a lot. And guess what? I can relate to a lot of people. And that's, you know, I feel like that's my give back. That's my, you know, learn from my experiences. I've been yelled at. I've been treated poorly. I've been fired without severance. That's a good story. And there's, you know, I've been there. I've been down and out. I launched my company with no money in the bank. And just because I believed in what I was going to do. And I believed that people need to feel like their careers are taken seriously. There's so many recruiters out there that just throw shit at the wall to see if it sticks. They have no network. They don't know these people. I listen to their story. And I've helped a lot of people just based on their story, you know, move forward and find jobs. And because they have a lot more to offer than what people are going to see on a resume.
It's more than the resume. It's more than the stats. It's a person, right?
Hey,
and they have a story.
Here's the story. And that's what I told Bob about Kevin. I said, listen, I know this is a complete career change for him. I said, but this is what I do know through this whole process. I took on 40 people through this whole process. Him and one other lady, no, 3 people do I still talk to today. I said, he is one of the ones that did all the right things. He kept pushing forward. He kept doing everything. So I know that he would be a survivor, and I know he would work really hard for you. And you know, you can't tell that story when you're submitting your resume on LinkedIn.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it comes down to the relationships, and you're making crystal clear, like you're fostering those relationships, like you probably have a good vision of where the good cultures are at.
Absolutely, I do, and the customers that I work with are customers that I would work for, and which is saying a lot because there's not a lot of people I would work for. Not anymore. Yeah. But they are good cultures where I know I place people there that they're going to be in a good place, number one. And number two, I have relationships at the executive level. So the people that I put out there, I may, if anything happens and they need, you know, sometimes it's just simple communication errors, but if they ever need anything, I got their back always. And that's why I started the company. It's so different than most staffing firms out there. They don't care where they get their business. They don't care what the culture's like. Well, I do, because I want to know that I'm putting people in a place that I myself would be.
Yeah.
And that, you know, I won't do anything. You know, I've had customers.
That longevity too, right? Like you want somebody to stay with this company,
right?
Be a good fit.
Absolutely.
Win-win for everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
When did you realize you had something as far as you had a business idea here?
Oh, probably about 7 years ago, I started realizing that, Yeah, probably about 7 years ago. And my mom had always said, I really wish you quit working for those fucking assholes and start your own business. Because, of course, Mom, you're not going to believe what happened today.
Yeah.
And so right after she passed away is when I said, you know what, fuck it, I'm doing it. I heard you, Mom. All right, peace out, corporate world. I'm doing it. And, yeah, haven't turned back since. I've picked up some other contracting gigs here and there just to kind of get through and see it. But running my own, I just wouldn't be doing anything different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you start it off?
Oh gosh. Well, what did I do first? I thought of the name, and then I just started reaching out to people in my network and telling them that I was, going to start this business, and next, people that I've known for a long time, customers that were hiring, and I just started, literally, here's a cool story. This is a really cool story. So 20 years ago, I worked for this IT services firm, and two of the guys that I worked with back then, I do this because they were at other divisions. One was working over here, right? And two of that I still talk to today, and I love them both dearly. And one of them ends up being a director at a customer who was one of my first customers. He was hiring, and he's just an awesome guy. And this other guy I knew wasn't happy in the environment that he was in. And so I told him if I ever come across anything. Well, so I literally, these two guys that I worked with 20 years ago that never met each other because they worked in different divisions, I connected those two together, and they're still working together now. They're like best friends, and they're taking on the world and loving life and doing all this great stuff. I literally I get paid to
connect people
I already know.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's brilliant.
I love I seeing the passion in your eyes, like that's brilliant.
And I talk to these guys, and I'm like, hey, how's Chris doing? Oh, he's great. Yeah, we love you. They're having a great time.
Yeah.
Not everybody that I've placed has worked out.
Yeah.
But I would say 90% of them over the last 5 years are all still where I put them.
That's incredible.
I know, in IT that is.
Yeah.
People jump constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so again, and I remember telling you when we were talking on the phone this morning, it's all about people that found a way to solve a problem.
Yeah.
Right. And now you're out helping other people. That's the whole mission. That's entrepreneurship. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
It's I love the whole selling when you're serving at the highest level, because
Absolutely.
you're helping people there's so many people that have been in your shoes, that are in your shoes right now.
And they feel beaten. Like there was one day I called Kevin, this a couple months ago, and he answers the phone. He goes, boy, I don't know how this is happening. He goes, but I'm really feeling down and out today, and I just couldn't think of anybody else's voice I'd rather hear. And I said, what you got going on? Come on, let's talk.
Yeah.
And by the time we hung up the phone, I had him, smiling, and he just is so appreciative. And I just, for whatever reason, he came to mind. I thought, I got to call him today and see what he's doing. And you don't get that from a lot of recruiters. I know all about him. I know people that I recruit, I know about their families. I know their life.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important when you're changing careers, because it's a career change. And I think, people need to be taken seriously, and I think their stories need to be heard.
Yeah.
And if that's not an environment that's fostered, then I won't work with you. And that's okay.
That's huge. That's a huge qualifier to know the people that you'd work with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and couldn't agree more. Yeah.
So when did the book come out? Not when it launched, but when did you say there's a book here? Oh
gosh, probably 10 years ago, I started writing it, and
the journaling.
Yeah, the journal. I started thinking back. Well, I think I might have been hanging out with my mom when she said, you should write a book about all the shit you've been through. And I'm like, that's a great idea. So I started, and then it launched. The paperback is available on Amazon. It came out last June. I just narrated the audiobook, which I'm super excited about. That should be available here in the next couple of weeks as well. And that was incredibly fun to tell the stories. So yeah, it's been about 10.
Yeah, to be able to go back through the book and tell the stories in the studio.
It was incredible. It was an amazing, because, I could fluctuate my voice with, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
yeah.
When I got fired once, and I had to sign a document saying that I wouldn't go to a competitor or a customer for 2 years in order to receive a severance. I was like, if you don't want me, why the fuck why do you care where I go?
Yeah.
This was the thing I had to do. And I was a single mom. I need
You need the money.
Yeah. And, but shit like that, people shouldn't be able to get away with that crap. Let people, if you don't want them, let them go work wherever they want.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because if not, it's messing with their livelihood and you're a single mom.
Totally. My hands were completely tied. And it's shit like that, it's just, do you want to hear a story about probably one of the worst managers I ever worked for, and he made me deceive a customer. Oh, I'll never do that again. He was a screamer too. And I brought in an enterprise account as a new customer, and we were getting ready to sign a multi-year deal with them. And I just couldn't take working for this guy anymore. I'm like, I can't take this. Is abuse. I walk into it, you never knew what you were going to get.
Yeah.
And
walking on eggshells.
No, I'm not. No, thank you. Nothing like that's going to be in my life. And so I resigned, and I told him I was, who can we transition this enterprise to? I know we're in negotiations right now, but I want to do it, properly and make sure she's taken care of. This customer, I knew her for a long time. She trusted me.
Yeah.
I worked with her in the past. He's like, you are absolutely not to tell her. And I said, oh my God, I can't do that. Then I'm the reason she's here.
Yeah.
So you want me to not tell her I'm resigning, sign the contract, and then tell her?
And then tell her.
I said, no, I can't do that. And he said, you will do that if you want to get paid. Again, holding the money over from me, right? And he's like, you won't get paid for your last check or this check if you say a word to her before. And I was like, oh my God. It literally came down to Friday at 3 p.m. I'm in her office and she signed the contract. It's my last day. The other executive that was in the room, we shake hands, stand up. I said, I'll meet you in the lobby. I need a few minutes. He left, and I looked at her, and my stomach was in knots. I felt sick to my stomach. I'm like, oh my God, I've completely betrayed her.
Yeah.
And when I told her, she was just, you could tell the look on her face was like, and she's not spoken to me since.
Oh, yeah.
And I couldn't say, I'm a single mom. I need this, I can't not have a paycheck. And this is what he's doing. And he's really abusive. I can't do any of that. So
because that's even worse.
Right?
And
so I couldn't say anything, but I just felt, I'll never forget that, because I just thought, you know what? I will never, I don't care if I have to wash toilets, I will never deceive somebody again because somebody's telling me to for their own agenda.
What advice would you give to somebody in that situation?
Stand up for yourself. Don't deceive anybody.
Yeah.
Because in the long run, that customer probably would have been way more beneficial to me than that guy.
Yep, absolutely.
Because that guy's not going to get my back.
Yep.
But this woman brought me in because she trusted me.
Yeah.
So that's where my loyalty should have been with her.
It ties back to the relationships,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. Because that guy, I don't care if I ever talk to him again.
Yeah. You're never going to go back to him. He's never going to help you.
Nope,
You're never going to help him.
But that woman probably could, she's
Yep.
probably retired now, but that's my advice, is stand up for what you know is right. And you, in the end, will win, because karma is real, and it can be a real bitch when people, and this is what happens. So after the contract and all that stuff, I left, and then I found out, months later, that all the shit hit the fucking fan. They canceled the contract. The project went down the tubes. And I'm not saying because I wasn't there that happened. I'm saying karma, bitch.
Yeah, yeah.
Like he forced this to and then look at it, blew up in his face.
Because if you enter a relationship upon deception, if I was an owner and I knew that you were the one that landed that deal, I would want to go and have a transparent conversation.
Absolutely. And let me I said, I can transition this properly and make sure she's happy. So it already kicked right off on a bad note. She was pissed right off.
Oh,
so now anything they did wrong, it just snowballed. But he's not going to see it that way.
Yeah. Well, and that's again, when you have somebody you want to work for, that's the asshole, right?
Yeah.
No matter what you do,
Yep.
No matter what anybody does, whether they lose, they'll go straight out of business. They'll go right straight into bankruptcy and not change their mind. In fact, they'll go more into victimhood of everybody with everybody else's fault. it was that salesperson I had, you know, like blah, blah.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. You get salespeople saying the recruiters aren't recruiting. The recruiters are like, sales aren't bringing sales in.
Yeah.
You know what? Take responsibility for where you are. And if you're not successful, then make some changes, because you're the only one that's going to make you successful. Nobody else is.
Nobody.
But so many people sit back and, you know, so-and-so, so-and-so. And I can't say that I never did it. I was young, of course. But life sure is a lot easier when you know, you can own your life for where it is today, because you're the one that got yourself there.
Because, how great is that?
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're giving your power away to something else or somebody else.
Absolutely.
You know, and it just stops there. Like, and if you're ever resentful on this one person.
Absolutely. It holds you back.
Yeah.
It's negativity to hold you back.
And then you look at, you know, and you mentioned a couple of times, like, you know, I don't give a fuck. This is me. I've been to jobs, all these different jobs and stuff like that. But, you know, you've probably gotten it throughout your whole life of like, oh, you're skipping jobs, or it's probably been like a little bit of a thing.
Oh, yeah. I went into one interview and interesting you say that, because I just made a connection I didn't make before.
Yeah.
This story I'm about to tell you, the one that I just told you, this is when I interviewed with that guy.
Oh.
And this is also a part of the book, because if your integrity is ever challenged in an interview, chances are they have reason to challenge their own.
Mm-hmm.
And so I interviewed with this guy, and he sat down and he said, "Why would I hire you? You've changed jobs, you know?" And I said, yeah, I have changed jobs. And I convinced him to hire me. And now looking, you know, that's interesting, because I've never convinced anybody to hire me. I never had to. And I don't know why I felt the need on this guy, but I just find that interesting now that I put all those pieces together, that if it doesn't fall into place, it's probably not meant to be. It's probably not the place you want to be.
Yep.
If it feels, and just like when you interview with someone, and I had this conversation with Kevin this morning, because he had that great interview with his new manager, how you feel during your interview is how you're going to feel working for that person.
Yeah.
So if you're in an interview and you feel like there's no connection, it feels forced, they were late, they weren't prepared, all of those things are signs of what it's going to be like to work with that person. If you find the conversation is easy and it flows, and then you know that's what it's going to be like. It's like that. And I learned that from all the interviews I've had and all the different jobs I've had.
Yeah.
Because when I look back at, this one shitstorm I was in, the interview process was, they were so pushy. They would call me 5-6 times in a row. Did you make a decision? Did you, they were a competitor of mine, and I was kicking their ass at an enterprise account, so they wanted to hire me. And they just threw a ton of money at me.
Yeah.
And that was another lesson I learned, that, but when you're young and
you go for the money.
Yeah.
You don't realize there's more.
No, and this guy was so aggressive, and it ended up down to, the reason I quit there is there was one day he was drunk by, I think it was noon, drinking whiskey, and one of the recruiters responded to a candidate different than how he would have, so he threw the whiskey bottle at him.
Oh my God.
I said, I don't think this is a place I want to work anymore.
Yeah. Going to lunch.
Yeah, I won't be back. Yeah, it was just craziness, But again, he was so incredibly aggressive through the entire interview process. And
the signs are there.
The signs are there. They really are.
Very rarely do these people hide who they are.
Right, exactly.
It's just a matter of, paying attention? Are you a buyer, or are you in that kind of like, I've got to get this job? Right.
Yeah.
That's hard. It's hard because you could be in that position, and you've been in that position.
I've been in that position.
I've been in that position.
Yep. I will say, though, the jobs that I took because I had to, were terrible.
Yeah.
They ended up being terrible fits.
Yep.
So you've got to, and go at, you look outside, get a job doing something you've never done before. Pick up a couple, get out of this. I left the corporate world once for a year. I worked at a horse ranch in the morning, and then I bartended at an upscale seafood restaurant at night. And,
yeah.
We weren't eating fillets all the time, but fuck, I was happy.
Yeah.
There was no stress. There was no deadlines, and, no quotas, and no bullshit airplanes and traveling, and never seeing my kid. And I traveled a lot over the years, and, I needed to, and it felt incredible. I would encourage anybody that can do something like that. Like I said, we were just getting by, but Mom was happy. We were dancing in the kitchen every day. And, you know, there's something to be said about that. I have so many memories now with my kid of being happy because of that one strip after spending so many years feeling like I didn't even know who she was. I was gone so much. And now, you know, I'm home all the time. I work from home. I work only with people that are in my network. My customers are only customers that I thoroughly enjoy and would call a friend.
Yep.
And, wouldn't be doing anything different.
But you weren't afraid to take that reset.
Right.
And go work at that restaurant or go work at that bar. Yep. And, you know, and I've made me think of a manager that I had, and a friend of mine, Kelly, another Kelly. And the company I was working for, or I was a sales director, their culture changed after I left. Yeah. And it just changed. And so people left, and she was one of them, and she was a leader in that organization. So the culture got really tight, and, you know, it was just much different. And so she ended up going back and working in a restaurant, working at a bar, and she's like, there's no stress, there's no deadline, no people breathing down my back, no, I did this wrong, no
proposals. Yeah. I mean, I had times where my engineers would take an entire enterprise accounts email down, and guess who's getting the call? I was like, you know.
Yeah.
And it was. I love being behind the bar though, because it's just fun for me.
Yeah.
And it keeps me off the other side, which is where I'd really like to be. But no, it's fun. And the horses, you know, I grew up with horses, so anytime I can get that barn smell and, you know, rub up against a horse, I'm you know, it sounded really inappropriate.
It went over my head at first, and then when you started laughing, I was like, wait a minute.
Oops. Oh, my God.
That's hilarious. Okay, so how do you start finding your clients? And, you know, you had the book, and it's so funny, like Kevin had this situation where he had to go through and work with an asshole through this period. But how do you find your ideal person?
Ideal customer or
ideal customer, yeah. You have some of the relationships.
Yeah, I have a handful that I work with now. But like I said, they're all culture based, like employee based. So they have great benefits. They offer a lot of time off. They encourage self growth. They're kind, approachable, and you know, so those are my, you know, if you're an organization that fosters employees, like really fosters employees, this is what else I learned. If the customer has on the wall, our employees are first, you know, or go people or whatever, it's bullshit. If you got to put it on the wall, it's fucking bullshit.
Yes.
And that's my experience. Every customer that I've seen had to do that. It's like they have to do it because they're really not doing it.
Yes.
It's true.
It's so true.
Yeah.
And because then you can go around and you can ask everybody in the building, what's the core values?
Yeah.
And like nobody knows except for it's on the wall.
Right. Yeah. And in fact, this happened to me. One of the guys that I worked for that would yell at me.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, why are you yelling at me? I'm not yelling at you. I'm like, last time I checked, you know, raising your voice is yelling.
Yeah.
Which would just even piss him off even more. But he would do it in front of everybody. And I just look around like, are you guys that like,
this is dysfunctional, right?
It was totally, and I was the only one in the office he would yell at. The only one in the office he would yell at. And I was the only woman.
Tell me about that as far as being a woman in IT.
Yeah.
That was one of the questions I had a while back, going from being in the restaurant industry to making that gap.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of women in IT.
No, it's mostly men. And, you know, it's interesting because there are quite a few men who don't think women have an opinion and are very disrespectful. For instance, at one of my jobs, I was managing a warehouse. And without getting into too much detail, because it'll be easy to figure out who this is. But I was managing a warehouse, and I had a bunch of guys that I worked with on my team, and I loved them. It was a great job. And I found a dirty magazine out in the warehouse. Well, I would oftentimes go out there And all the guys are out there, you know. And after I found this, I'm like, this is making me feel really uncomfortable because now I feel like they're undressing me with their eyes as soon as I walk in the warehouse.
Yeah.
So I went to one of the vice presidents and told him, I said, it's really uncomfortable. Can they, you know? So he goes, I'll take, you know, he acted all like, oh, this is unbelievable, blah, blah, blah. This motherfucker went out there and told him to hide it better. I mean, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
You know?
That makes it a great situation.
God. And so there are situations, you know, and this one that in particular, where I was the only female, and I didn't put that connection together till after I was gone. Because then the more I started thinking about it, I'm like, you know, he handled everybody else with, like, you know, child gloves. Oh no, but with me, it was attacking, and everything I never had, everything I said was wrong and it wouldn't work and that's bad business. And I'm like, if you got all the answers, why the fuck am I here?
Right.
If you're not going to listen to me, you know, and but I didn't connect all those dots until after I was gone. And it was pretty clear that, you know, I think he had some, you know, either mommy issues or wife issues or something. And I was kind of the gate.
And that happens a lot. So my wife has been through a lot of those experiences. She was in sales, but she worked in, you know, male dominated industries. Like she sold Harleys, you know, and so, but she takes a lot of ownership in places that she goes, and she has a lot of great ideas. And so she'd be invited in these discussions and she'd be in leadership roles, but then they would never take her seriously. And
it's
then
frustrating.
It'd be so frustrating. And then she'd be the one that get yelled at or have to take responsibility for stuff. But then a guy would come to a meeting a couple weeks later with the same idea, and they'd be like, oh my God, it's the best idea we've ever heard. And it was just over and over and over again. It's just so frustrating.
It really is. And it's not every environment.
No.
And it's interesting. The environments that you'll find that in are the ones that are going to say, as soon as they hear this, oh, she's pulling the chick card. Because that's their only rebuttal.
Yeah.
Because they know I'm fucking right.
Yeah.
You know, it was clear as day. And, but again, not everybody.
It was for me. She'd come home and tell me these stories. And I'm like, this is horrible.
And here's an example. I worked for a company. This was incredible. I worked for this company where I was selling Microsoft solutions. And I teamed up with a couple guys from Microsoft and enterprise guys, and they were literally taking me into every single one of their accounts. I mean, it was going to be like, I'm talking, my kid's getting a basketball court, you know, kind of shit coming in. It was huge. And my company was based out of, not out of Detroit. And so they would send me resources, and all my projects were failing. And it was just it was turning into, like, my reputation was going down the tubes. The projects were failing. They were because they were just sending me whatever engineers were left over, pretty much, you know. And I kept telling, you know, I kept going right up the ladder. I mean, right to the, you know, as far as the guy who ran all of delivery. I drove to this other city, which isn't right around the corner, to sit down and meet with him and say, listen, this is what's going on. I'm getting my ass kicked by Microsoft. I'm getting my ass kicked by the customers. I said, we had all this business lined up. I mean, it was like at least a couple of million in a very brief time was already in the pipeline, and it was all about to go away. He wouldn't listen to me. And so then when we lost all that business, guess who got fired? Even though I tried and tried and tried and tried and tried and tried and tried, I'm like, listen, this could be epic. The relationships I have with Microsoft are fucking, it doesn't get any stronger than this. And they wouldn't listen to me.
Yeah, that's rough.
And then I got fired.
Yeah.
I'm like, you motherfuckers.
There was something you said in one of the videos I was watching. It was like, one of the lines in the book is like, kiss my ass, motherfucker. I don't want to work for you, or something.
Oh,
like
this
that.
bitch is crazy. I can't work here.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some motherfuckers in there. Yeah.
But it's going through, and again, you've blazed your trail. You've had you've worked for all these horrible places and all these horrible bosses, and you know you've found the good places too. You've went through all these experiences to help shape to now help other people.
Absolutely, and understand that there's the greatest company I ever worked for is also in the book. And I mean, the things that they did for their employees was, I mean, incredible. Yeah. They flew us all and spouses if they wanted. Some chose not to. And to Vegas for the weekend. And we were all on a private jet. We stayed at Studio 54. We had a private party that night. We had the entire Studio 54 for like 3 hours for our company. I mean, it was just incredible.
Wow.
I mean, the parties, the things that they did for their customers, it was an incredible, and we were like family as a result because we did so much together. We worked hard together. We played hard together, but everybody took care of each other. It was like nobody was left in the lurch. You know,
Yeah.
we were all, but we did so many great things outside of work, and they would have company parties and they'd be catered and they'd have bands come in and limos lined up for those, you know, that shouldn't be driving home, and made sure they just, you know, people don't do that kind of stuff anymore. And as a result, there's a lack of loyalty and there's a lack of people that even want to work because there's no motivation. There's no relationship driven outcome. It's all about numbers, or it's all about this task or this task or this task. And the other thing I wanted to say is my customers interview with the mindset of not does this person check every box, but could this person check every box?
Mm-hmm.
And I really love that mentality because that is giving people a chance. And it's seeing through where others, you know, wouldn't see. And it's you know, you can change people's lives looking at it that way.
Somebody gave you a chance.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was a restaurant manager. I didn't know the first thing about a fucking computer, and now all of a sudden I'm working for an IT services company.
Yeah.
You know, and every day I'm on a computer, and I literally start, like, this is how I started. No lie. But they, you know, they took that chance, and then within a year I moved into sales, and the rest is history. Started making money, and then boom, you know, kept moving around. But shit, I moved around. I got a big network and a lot of people that I stay in contact with that I thoroughly enjoy. So it's really been,
When it comes down, we're here
absolutely,
because of people in your network, and that's been
Absolutely.
mentioned so many times. Is your
Yeah.
connections and your relationships are so important.
Mhm.
You know, we talk about that a lot on this show. Is people are your greatest resource.
Yes.
But you know, you have a relationship with Scott, and I have a relationship with Scott. And you know, it's cool. You mentioned too how when you think of somebody a couple times, you talk about Kevin and how
Yeah.
you reached out, and it's like it's always been one of my things. If you're thinking about somebody, you're thinking about them for a reason.
Right.
And so it was really weird. I was going to shoot a message to Scott because I hadn't talked to him in a couple months.
Yeah.
And then he shot me a message that day and was like, "You need to meet Kelly."
I know, it's incredible. I had no idea. Like, I didn't know, because I've worked with Scott at an IT services firm. We sold Microsoft solutions together. I had no
Yeah.
idea he had this whole other. I knew he was artsy, but I didn't know about all of this whole world. And so when I told him, I said, I want to start my own podcast. And all of a sudden he sends me your name and he's like, "You got to meet this guy." And I look at you and I'm like, "I got to meet this guy. Look at what he's doing." It's, you know, resonates completely. And yeah,
Thanks.
it's because of, you know, somebody that we both know, like, and have maintained a
That's
relationship
how the world
with.
works.
It really is. And right now in IT, it's so important. People don't understand how important their relationships are. There's so many people looking for work. And you got to leverage your network. You got to leverage people that you know. And hopefully you've done a good job of building up your network over the years, because people who haven't they're fucked. I hate to say it. So if you're in that situation, that's, you know, I'm the person you call.
That is an amazing, amazing spot to drop. That's the mic drop right there, Kelly. That is the mic drop.
Perfect.
So perfect, Kelly. Thank you so much for making it through last minute, wading through the traffic on 23 to get here today.
Oh, thank you for having me. This has absolutely been wonderful. It's great to meet you, and I do hope to come back again.
Absolutely. All right.